Hey guys, good evening, happy evening, and we have a new friend joining in today, Snehal. She is joining us from New Jersey, New York, US. And then she is an author and she is a coach. She has been publishing many books. I still don't know how people can write so many books, and what it takes to write a book. She has published around 7 books, and the journey continues. She is a bestseller, and she is in a journey which is very unique, where which is motivating people. Her motto is giving some self empowerment, which is missing. We have a tendency, we rely on people. She is more on self employment. So there are a lot of concepts. Let's get to know what Snehal's the unique mantra is, her unique flavor of these books, and her mentorship. So over to you, Snehal. So maybe you can talk about how did you start? Why writing books? कौन पढ़ता है? मतलब I mean, I seriously, because I am not a good reader, I'm like, कौन पढ़ता है ये सब books? And how did you get into this passion of also coaching people that on self empowerment? Because that's a nice word. I mean, your entire thing gets summarized with that particular one word, which everybody needs. So over to you.
Thank you. Thank you, Ravi. Actually, you introduced very beautifully. And I so connect when you say kaun padta hai, because I'll be honest, I'm not a good reader myself. I had to learn the art of reading books. And to to tell you, the events actually happen in this way. I was a freelance trainer
Mhm.
working with all the freedom of, the time I could work when I wanted to. And then I moved to United States. At that time, I was learning how to become a coach. And from that, I moved to writing into a book. But writing books was something that happened to me. There are two kinds of people, one who know what their calling is, and one who don't listen to what the universe is saying, and then you are pushed into that direction. So for me, writing books happened that way. I was challenged by someone saying everyone has a story and you have to share it. You cannot say you don't have a story.
Okay.
So you're going to write something, and if it is really good, I will put it in the book. So that's how it started. I promise you, I waited till the last day of submission to actually sit down and write something because in my head it was like, I don't think I have a story. It's simple, right? I grew up, I had amazing parents, I found the love of my life, and then I moved here. So nothing there, no sadness, no anything. So that book got published, and that's even then I did not realize the power of writing when I started receiving messages or emails through LinkedIn, because there were 20 other women as a part of that book, they did all the marketing. I was not aware of, sharing the book, anything. And plus, I was new in this country. So they did whatever marketing, and whoever read my chapter found my details and messaged me. And I realized that there is so much power in we just telling what we learned and how we learned it. So that actually got me going. And that's when I started learning the art of writing a book. Even after that, I took like 18 months to write my first own book, which is called I Work for Me. So writing journey started happening in its own way. And coaching, to be very honest, changed my life. Because until then, I was a behavioral and soft skill trainer. I believed in telling people what to do. We do that when we are training people. We have a certain things that we have to educate you about, and that is my agenda, and I want you to learn it. And in coaching, it's exactly the other way around. It's about your agenda, what you want, and me helping you get there. And that actually helped me learn so much more that I decided to follow that as my path for life. So coaching and writing started going hand in hand. Um, but otherwise, I'm a simple girl from Pune, never wanted to leave the city of Pune. I'm a typical Puneite who still loves to have an afternoon nap. And yeah, this moving to United States was not a part of one of my dreams. It happened, but what I learned is I made the most out of it. And that's where I learned self-empowerment is so much more important because when I moved here, I lost contacts, network, everything that I had already built as an entrepreneur in India. And I was like, I have to start from scratch. I don't know anyone. And I moved to the state of I don't think I can do this. I don't think I'm capable. First, English is not my first language. Will people understand? I have, that self-doubt took over me so much that I forgot the power that I had inside of me. And that shift is what motivated me to give that, understanding, that power, or just making people aware that you have everything that you need. It's just that you need to tap into it by taking one step at a time. And that's when I decided to be an abundance coach. So yeah, that's my short journey.
So both the books, you wrote the first books, The Calling, which I can see. It's got an awesome cover. I mean, it looks like a movie poster, The Calling, including the name. And the earlier book, I work for myself, so
Yeah.
they happened there. Okay, so what happened in, what are the subjects that are covered in both the books?
So I work for me is my journey. So here's one thing that I learned about entrepreneurship. In my family, there is no one as an entrepreneur. Like my parents, three, four generations before that, everyone is employed and has an employee mindset. And my mom actually worked with the same company for nearly 38 years of her life, literally. So I didn't have anyone to go to for advices and plus I did not have a formal education understanding business. My formal education ends with 12th standard. Everything that I did after that has been my online learning, where distance learning and things like that, which I had to do because of conditions, blah, blah, blah. The reasons are always there. So when I was, how do I say this? When I started entrepreneurship, I realized that what I used to do for a company when I worked for some company, I used to give my 200%, work for 12 to 14 hours a day, overdo the work, do things for others, be more organized, show up for all the meetings. And then I started entrepreneurship and I'm not showing up for the meetings. It was like one email, I'll send it tomorrow, you know,
Yeah,
I can do it later. It's my business. Who is asking me? I'm the boss. So that being a boss for me did not work out really well.
I
That's when I
I
decided that
completely.
I need to do something. And what's the difference? So I decided to employ myself. So Snehal R. Singh as a brand decided to employ Snehal Singh. I literally wrote down an appointment letter and I decided what are the responsibilities that this person who is going to be the CEO and the salesperson and the coach is going to do. And then I started working towards those responsibilities because that helped me build the understanding of what is the responsibility of a person who works for your company. And would I hire myself if I show the traits that I've been showing? So that shift made me understand why many entrepreneurs fail in the first 18 months to 2 years of their journey. They give up sooner. They do little work and they expect bigger returns, and faster returns are expected. So that's why I wrote I Work for Me, because I moved from the mindset of just being a boss to understanding that if employee mindset works for me, I have to make it work. So that's how I Work for Me was born. The calling has been a very personal project because it is about people finding their calling. Okay. And that is something that I'm truly passionate about because, as I told you, I don't listen that well. So things happen and then I, change my way of direction. But there are many who understand what their calling is. So I wanted to share their stories with many. And that's where I got an 11 stories that are inspiring and from various walks of life who can share their journey. We have a dancer, we have someone who is an amazing, psychiatrist, a doctor, a baker, each different profession we have tried to touch in that book, The Calling.
Super. Good one. And with respect to I work for me is lovely concept. I think I should also start because when you're an entrepreneur, you I mean I completely agree with kal karenge, baad mein karenge, today let's relax. I'm tired. There are a lot of excuses that come in, and you're not running the same way which you run in a corporate because that's like process is streamlined. You have somebody questioning you. As soon as that person is removed, you're completely spoiled. The
Yes,
discipline.
and accountability partner matters. What I have learned about human behavior, to be very honest, Ravi, is we do so much more for others than what we would do for ourselves.
True.
So it's
Ask me.
important that I put myself as a brand and separate it from who I am. And that's the time I would be able to deliver more than what I would idly do for just myself. So I know those feelings.
Yeah, ask me. My wife always, reminds me. So you have so many tasks pending, which is like your personal stuff. and you're like doing this for your friends and all that. So yeah, so good,
True.
good. So, so friends are connecting with you right now online during pandemic. I mean, how do they take the coaching? What segment of friends connect with you to take coaching, and what's your specialty in coaching?
So in coaching, I generally work with two genres. One is about coaching for life,
Hmm.
and one is writing coaching, where I help you learn how to write your first book.
Hmm.
So that is one. Uh, for coaching, I mostly work with entrepreneurs, coaches, anyone who is looking for shifting their life. Because, and especially right now, I think there is a lot of scarcity mindset, uncertainty that has come in. It's not that we wanted it, and people are moving away from what their self motto was to wondering what it is now. So I help you bring in that clarity. So we just finished yesterday a 7-day abundance challenge, which went really amazing. It was a short challenge that we did on Facebook itself. It was 7 days. I used to pick up a topic, this 7 aspects of life, and give little bit of information, and then we all did the tasks together, and it was so amazing to see how much people are now ready to make a change and bring in a shift, because one, they have opportunity, and more than that, they have clarity. I think one thing that we have got right now is clarity. So coaching right now for me is mostly online. I either do it in group coaching setups or individual coaching setups. And yeah, most of them are online. And now with everything, I don't think I have another option.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah, we had a similar friend, who's actually focusing on teaching kids to become authors. So, this is amazing. But I mean, tell me, I mean, this is like running in my mind because now I have a lot of people who are authors who are coming up to the show. Uh, so let's say you write a book, you publish it. How many copies sold is supposed to be good? And what are the commercials like? What is the margin? And वो सब कैसे चलता है? What are the dynamics after the book is published in the market?
So I will be very, very, very honest with you. The writing process actually starts with the end in the mind, and that's where an author can be successful.
Okay.
And when I say successful, today the success definition has changed. Few years ago, or 10 to 15 years ago, traditional marketing took the most of the space. So in that case, those movies that we see, or even Bagban that we saw, he did write the book and the checks kept coming in and the publisher did everything. That was traditional. But today, traditional is not as much. Self-publishing is taking over. So for self-publishing, it is up to the author to understand what are the returns that they're looking for. And depending on that, you can measure your success. So,
Okay.
for example, for my I Work for Me, in last 16 months that the book has been launched, I have sold around 1,200 copies. The printed copies that I have a track of, I don't know how many ebooks I've done. However, those 1,600 brought me at least 400 new clients.
Hmm.
Out of that, at least few stayed with me, which brought me an overall business of good $60,000 to $65,000. But the book selling rate, if you look, 1,200 copies, $10 a book, I hardly get $5, per book after all the cuttings by Amazon, blah blah blah. It didn't make me more than $500 or $600. Okay, so it is about how you're writing the book, what is your intent, and what are you looking forward to. Like the book got me TV shows, more visibility, radio shows, stuff like that, which brought me more clientele, got me more opportunity to connect. So if, and this is where again, that's where that's where I coach. Most authors only look at writing the book and publishing it.
Hmm.
So what happens is the craze goes away. It's like winning a lottery. If you want to win a lottery, your excitement dies the day you get the lottery money, because it's done, you have got it. So the plan has to be way beyond that. And that's how I measure success. To be very honest, numbers don't matter. You can hit an Amazon bestseller by using a simple strategy. But if that is not giving you sales and that's not bringing people to you and you're not able to do what you really want to do, then I wouldn't call it success. So for me, the logo doesn't really matter of being a bestseller. It's about what am I getting in return. So follow-up system, marketing is important. authors don't like marketing. Like sales is not my thing, but I don't believe anyone in this world is born without having sales capability. We all are born have, we know what sales is. We have done that. We have bought everything. We have converted our parents to making us do what we want to do, even as a child. So I think it's just a shift of mindset. But yeah, the success depends on what are you looking for. What do you want as an author?
Good. I'm writing a book. Ravi ke Karname. You're getting me motivated because seriously, I wasn't aware of the behind the scenes or aftermath after the books are sold or how it can generate business for you in a long term basis. I was just thinking of book getting published on the shelves or on Amazon. How does that search engine work? How much margin do you make, and why people read it? Why how can you attract topics like this? I think book readers do check out if I want to read this book or not, and or keep it aside. So yeah, I was only limiting my thought process till that, but this is interesting.
True, because here's the thing, and again, you will hear many coaches and authors say this, which is, Snehal, if I could just touch one person's life, if I write that book and one person's life changes, then I would be grateful. But here's the thing, if you're writing a book and you're putting in an effort and putting all your experience, it takes time to write a book. I'm sorry, but it does take the time. You need to get the returns for it. And two, why would you just want to impact one person's life if you can impact many?
Right.
Okay. And for that, the book needs to sell, because if the book is not selling, then no one is really reading it. So whatever you want that to change people's life is not happening. So, that thing of I just want to give and not receive, I always tell my authors, you don't want the money, get it, donate it, do whatever you want to do, give it to a cause, but earn it, because that's when your voice is reaching many people. So find another way of giving away, or all the profits give it to an NGO, and then do that, but make the money, because if you're not making it, your voice is not reaching.
Yeah,
So
I
yeah.
agree with it. Yeah, a lot of people are like, abhi kar dete hain, donate. But if you're making a book and it is generating revenue every month, every week, every day, slowly once it gets popular, obviously you're made a system where your NGO whom you're like attaching is like getting regular revenue instead of one time donation. Good point.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, very exciting.
Yeah.
Ravi ke Karname coming up soon. Good one. So we have some rapid fire questions. So Snehal, so are you all set? Ready?
Yeah, I'm a little nervous, which I generally am not, but I'm
Mhm.
going to go ahead and answer your questions. Go ahead.
Okay. Yeah, the first one coming up. So you've written everything, and what's the fact about Snehal which is not on the internet or on a book?
Huh. What is not on the book? That I'm very naughty. Yeah, that's
Very
not
good.
there anywhere.
Okay, so the next question, you prompted for the next question. So what is the biggest prank or the most successful prank that you have played?
The most successful prank that I have played is uh, one that I pulled out on my own uncle. And it didn't go that well because I was really young. But we did pull out a prank on him where we pushed him into the water, which wasn't really water,
Oops.
and he jumped into it very happily because we convinced him that it is water, and it was really gluey gel that he jumped into. So that was for one prank which I did as a child. Like,
Very
I
good.
think I was 12 that time, but yeah, that was the biggest one. After that, I've been a little careful, but
Yeah,
yeah,
you make sure whether it is gel or water and then do it now.
whether it's healthy or not. And safe or not. But yes, that is one of the biggest ones that I pulled.
Okay, you write a lot now. So, but what's most interesting thing you've read lately?
What I have read,
Mhm.
um, I started reading the biography of the yogi, and I
Mhm.
think it's amazing. So I'm halfway through it. As I told you, I'm not a very great reader, so it takes time for me to read. But yeah, That's an interesting thing. I never read biographies before this, so it's my first ever biography that I'm reading.
Wow.
Uh, because I like reading self-help books because I'm an accelerated reader, so I can read like super fast. And then when I have to read biographies or fiction, I have to slow down, and that doesn't come naturally to me. But it is a very interesting book. So yeah.
Super. Your next question: what's the favorite part of the city you live in right now, and the most or the least favorite part?
The most favorite part is the nature. It's the greenest city I've seen, and it's yeah, it's very green. Like it's always green. It doesn't matter what the season is. What I don't like is everything is very far. You
Hmm.
can't get away. Like people like me who don't know how to drive, you can't go anywhere unless you learn how to drive. So that's the sad part. Everything is far, very far away.
Okay. What one thing, if you get a chance, would you take it from the current city you live in back to Pune?
Trees.
Okay.
That's the only thing because I think that's the only thing I'll probably miss when I come back is trees, trees, trees. It's green and there are no posters. Like, those big posters we have, which are always in between the two
Mhm.
trees, or that is not this. That's the only thing that I would take.
Upcoming event that you're planning, any online session and stuff like that you're planning?
Yes, write a book workshop, which is
Mhm.
happening on 15th of August. So you learn everything about writing, publishing, and flourishing.
Wow, good. So people, friends can actually connect with you and then check out when it's happening. Good.
Yes.
I also have something coming up launching on 15th, so, but I'll publish it tomorrow.
Oh, cool. I'm going to check it out.
Okay. What do you think of a talk? Do you believe in the subject, the content, or do you believe in the length of the conversation?
I think I'm someone who always looks for content. If I can learn something, so I am a great learner, and no matter who is talking, I will sit down with making notes. Even certain movies, I sit down with making notes. This dialogue, it's impactful. I would write it down. So content for me matters the most, and then the delivery of the content. Because if you're putting me off to sleep, then I listen to it 10 times. But yeah.
Yeah. So you're prompting me questions. So what's the recent dialogue that you have written?
Dialogue that I have written.
Hmm? That you have
Um,
copied from the movie and written it on your book from the movies.
from the movies that I have taken as a part of my book is one of the dialogues which is there in this movie, the latest ABCD. I think it's dance. So I forgot the name of this, but in my book about food, I have written about it's not about just praying; it's about being of service. So even every day could just be of service to one person. Your life is accomplished. So that is a quote that I've picked up, the Hindi Punjabi version, which is going in my book.
ABCD 3D, right? I think it's
Yeah, the latest one. I think Street Dance or something. I forgot. The
street
latest one that
street
came
dancer.
up, Varun Dhawan one. Yeah.
Okay, your favorite celebrity couple ever?
Celebrity couple.
Hmm.
Ah, not really, but at the most, I think I will give it to Ajay Devgan and Kajol to a certain extent, but that's it. But nobody has really impressed me as much. As a couple, they haven't impressed me as much.
Okay, so your favorite restaurant you go to, the place where you live in?
The place where I live in, there's this Indian Chinese restaurant called Chopsticks, which I love. So it's a very simple one. It's by a Bengali, guy who cooks amazing, proper Indian Chinese taste that we get in India. Otherwise, I have to compromise and, go with the continental version of everything. So that is my favoriteest place. I can eat anytime.
So,
And then it's the the most favorite one for everyone, which is Cheesecake Factory, which I love, love, love.
so if you could move around now, let's forget about pandemic and where would
Hmm.
you go? Where would you love to travel first?
Right now, I would want to go to Miami. I'm missing the sunshine and the beaches. So, yeah.
Okay, your biggest accomplishments till date. I mean, out of all the books and entire life journey, it need not be related to your career or passion or books, what do you think is the biggest accomplishment?
I think the biggest acknowledgement is, or achievement, to be very honest, is what is the love that I'm getting now. Okay. Um, I have been working and I have been doing a lot of stuff. But for example, the 7 day abundance challenge that we just did was a great validation that I am on the path that I'm supposed to be on. So that, in a way, I would say was my biggest achievement because I could touch people's life even on the internet, being in the same room and talking and so on. And it pushed people out of their comfort zone. So, many people did their first ever lives. Many people shared their first ever story on social media, kind of thing. So I would still say that is my biggest achievement so far because I could see the impact that was created. So yeah.
Good one. So everybody has a characteristic, and there are certain times where you completely burn out. Okay, you that pressure cooker, starts blowing, or starts making the sound. We have this ad in India which is about sneakers, where you get hungry and the guy becomes like Rekha, pretty upset and screaming. So when does Sneha become Rekha? Sneha, what point where she gets really upset, angry, and shows her frustration?
One definitely is the same one. I am the hangry person. If I'm hungry, I'm angry. So I need to be fed well for sure. But apart from that, I think the only thing that can move me out of my state very quickly is when I hear the lies. Dishonesty is something that still triggers me. I'm working on it, but it still triggers me at times. I lose it in seconds, and it's only dishonesty. You can tell me I've done the worst thing in the world, but as long as you're telling me, nothing would happen. But if you don't tell me, then, or you lie about it, and I know, then there is a problem. So yeah,
कि
dishonesty is the
ये
only thing that
ये आप
triggers
लोग
me.
ना बहुत अच्छे करते हो साइकोलॉजिकली दिस पर्टिकुलर वन थिंग एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट कर देते हो हस्बैंड से यार एवरीथिंग इज ओके आई डोंट लाइक dishonesty and everybody is packed there's no opportunity.
But you know what's surprising, Ravi? Till date, it has never been a challenge with him. But everybody else, I have like this lie detector inside of me, and I know when you're lying, and then it just, it would just switch. But thankfully, I've got an husband who never puts me in that situation. So I'm glad. This conversation I've never had with him till date, so it's good.
Good. So you're so blessed. So with this blessing and with these achievements, being an author and also making people an author where they can fulfill their dreams, the thought process of writing down their stories. What would you do if you become the Chief Minister of Maharashtra? What are the areas you would focus on?
I think the areas that I would want to focus on is integrating positive conversations right from childhood. That is one. There is a huge change in the education system already, but I just feel that if positivity and how to deal with life, I want to add that, like few things that I didn't know as a child, and I would want to add that. I would want to teach life coaching skills right at childhood, then teaching them after life happens. So that is one definite thing. And the second thing, especially for the city and the state that I come from, I would just add more and more trees, greenery. Like, I love your background. It has so much green in it. So green is my thing. So yes, bringing nature or adding more to the nature. Like Pune already has a beautiful, weather. We have been known for that. So I would just like to add a little more tinge to that.
Whatever we've lost in a couple of years, I think you want to add them back.
Bring it. Yeah.
Good. Nice connecting with you, Snehal. I mean, I really respect, people who go abroad, doesn't matter which country, but do something, create their own identity, have plans to come back and, bring some value back to their own country because it's low, each skill is like, one of the fragrance or one of the, mashalas and recipe. Uh, Everything is important. Every flavor adds up once you come back. And when you come back, you will definitely influence others on what you do. People look at you and then replicate or do stuff which are similar to what So this is a good equation which basically builds a stronger nation. Because people
Absolutely.
need to get into different skill sets. People need to do different things, and some of these things which have become easy nowadays is I would say easy for a customer. It's more like a self-service. Like writing a book, as you mentioned, is more like you can do it on your own with certain processes, some best practices, but it is easy. It is no longer only you have to be a nawab to write a book. That was the that was
True.
the fact earlier, where you have to be a rich guy, and it was all rich guys and their experience which was like published. Uh, a common man can write a book too, and can express
Yes.
his feelings, and there are a lot of learnings other people can have through that. So good conversation, good learning. So रवि भी थोड़ा motivate हो रहा है, but yeah, let's see रवि के कारने में आएंगे कि
Let's
नहीं.
add to that motivation. There's just one thing that I want to say before I go, and it's not only related to books, and that is this. I personally now believe that each one of us has a story inside of us, and we literally have just two choices. Choice number one, I take it to the grave with me, or choice number two, I share it so that somebody feels inspired, healed, enters into the world of dreams, or just experience a different life while they're living a certain life. And I think that option two is something that motivates me to do everything that I do. So whether it's writing a book or speaking on Facebook or writing a blog or just talking to your own kids or grandkids and telling them what your journey has been, that itself is so much motivating.
True.
So yes, share your stories. You never know whom you would be helping. So yeah.
Good one. So, friends, do connect with Snehal. We'll share all the social media handles where she is available with. Check out her workshops if this is of area of interest for you. You're thinking of yourself or somebody helping somebody who should write a book. So do connect them with Snehal so that their journey becomes much simpler. They can fulfill their dreams through this particular process. So thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Snehal, for joining in, and God bless with whatever you're doing. Do rock the show and set the flag high of India wherever you're living.
Absolutely. Thank you. Thank you. And Ravi, you yourself have been doing an amazing job. I've watched nearly most of your interviews. So thank you. And thank you for being amazing yourself.
Thank you. Thank you, Snehal. Have a great day.